Hello, everybody. We're going to be doing some science, and we're still working towards our David Attenborough vlog documentary video that I am so excited to see. So we're going to be looking at animals still. So I'm going to share my screen with you now so you can see my PowerPoint. So our learning objective today is to understand the differences in the features of different animal types. So we're going to be explaining what different features different types of animals have, and we're going to be sorting and classifying the animals by those features. But first, I'm going to see how much you can remember about the different features of different types of animals. So what we're going to do is, I'm sure you're going to nail this. I want you to look at the screen and I'm going to read the question, and can you point to the type of animal and tell me which one is right according to what's written. So this is our recap. This animal is warm-blooded. Is it a reptile or is it a mammal? Can you point to your screen? Point to your screen. Tell me which one it is. Drum roll, please. It's a mammal. Oh, I'm sure you got that. But if you didn't, there's plenty more. And if you got it, I'm going to catch you out. This animal uses gills to breathe, often on the side here. Gills. What animals use gills? Is it a fish or is it insects? What type of animals use gills to breathe? It's a fish. Did you get it? I'm sure you did. I'm sure you got it. You're far too clever for me. But I'm still going to catch you out with this one. I'm sure of it. This animal has 6 legs. Do mammals have 6 legs or do insects have 6 legs? Point to your screen. Tell me which one. Are you pointing? Insects. Insects have 6 legs. Ugh, too many legs for me. This type of animal has feathers. Now, do birds have feathers or do fish have feathers? Point to your screen. Tell me which one it is. Say, silly Miss Robinson. We all know this. This is far too easy. Birds have feathers. So, this is my trickiest one. So I'm thinking this is going to be the one to catch you out. This animal uses sun for heat. So it's cold-blooded. It can't keep itself warm. It uses the sun. Do reptiles have cold blood or do mammals have cold blood? Can you point? Use those pointing fingers. Reptiles. Reptiles are cold-blooded, so they have to make sure they stay warm in the sunshine. And this animal has moist skin. Moist, if you don't know what that means, moist is a little bit wet. Not very soggy, just a little bit damp, a little bit wet, a little bit of moist. Do insects have moist skin or do amphibians have moist skin? Can you point to your screen and tell me? Amphibians. So our task today is to sort some animals by their features. So I've got my table here. I drew mine, but if you think, Miss Robinson, I do not have time to draw things. It is too difficult for me. I have a version that you can print. It looks the same as this, but I would really love it if you could write it. So our first bit of our table says gills. So we're going to be putting animals in that section that have gills. Our next one is a hard exoskeleton. An exoskeleton is a hard covering on the outside on top of the animal's skin. And exoskeletons make the animal crunchy. And I'll give you a clue. Don't tell Mrs. Clark, I'll give you a clue. Lots of very small creatures have exoskeletons. What type of animal might that be? Our next section is beaks. What types of animals have beaks? Warm-blooded is another bit. What animals have scales on their skin? And what types of animals live on land and in water? So I've drawn my table. I have one that you can print if you want to. And if you think, okay, I'll draw mine, but that's too much. It's too hard from then on. I've got pictures, and these pictures, you'll be looking at them and you'll be like, Miss Rosen, you are being so silly. You've printed off the same picture twice. I'm not. I'm being sneaky because some of those tables overlap. Some animals might fit into more than one section. So you have to think really hard then to think about, oh, I've got two types of animal here, two of the same, but what different bits do they go in? But if you're thinking that is too easy, you could also look at the animals on the screen and write down what they're called in your table. And that's super tricky and super stretching yourself. So pause the video now, stop, don't go any further. And can you do this task for me? So now you've done your table, your task, you're classifying, you're sorting, and you're thinking, I'm ready for the answers. Tell me I'm right. We're going to move on. Remember, don't do this bit unless you've done the task. Otherwise, that's you won't be able to check yourself properly. So we've got to check back on what we've done. Here we go. In my gills section, because they use the gills to breathe, because if they use their mouths, they'd get lots of water in them. So I've got fish in our gills section. Do you remember my clue from earlier? Oftentimes, very small animals have a hard covering, a hard exoskeleton, make them nice and tough. That's our insect. So we've got a praying mantis and we've got a little ant. And they've both got a hard outside because they're so small, they need to be so strong too. Beaks, I'm sure you were like, obviously, birds have beaks, miss. That's just. And I've got this is my next tricky section. Warm-blooded. So we've got our tiger and our bear. But our birds, they don't need the sun to keep warm. Birds are warm on their own. They've got warm blood too. And our scales, this was my other tricky section. We've got a snake that slithers along, that's got scales. We've got a lizard, but we've also got the fish. The fish don't have skin like ours. They have scales too. Did I catch you out with those? Or did you get it? You might be able to figure them out and wiggle them around to make them look like mine if you think, I made a bit of a mistake, miss, but that's fine. I can fix it. I know now. I've learned this now. And that's okay. And finally, what types of animals live on land and in water? And these are our amphibians. So these are our frogs, our toads, our newts. There are lots of animals that live in water and on land. So our gills. Our gills, what types of animals does that fit into? What feature does that, what type of animal has this feature? Oh, got all muddled in my words. I was so excited. Fish. Hard exoskeletons are insects. Beaks are birds. Warm-blooded animals are mammals. And we're mammals too. We've got warm blood. That's why we're able to stay nice and toasty on our own sometimes. Scales. Do we have scales? Are we a reptile like a snake? And because I've said it, I'm going to double check. So I want you to shout out back to me. What type of animal lives on land and in water? An amphibian. Perfect. Well done. Can you give yourselves my favourite ketchup clap? Yes, I love it. So much fun. So now, just before we finish, could you reflect? So, how do you think you've shown resilience today in your learning? What do you think you've learned today? All this amazing stuff that you have learned today, how do you think that will help you and you'll be able to use it when you're filming your documentary? And is there anywhere else in your life, any other time in your life that you think you might be able to use what you've learnt today? And can you reflect on that? Think about how you could use it to move forward. Well, I'm going to stop sharing now. Thank you so much for doing some science with me, and I will see you soon. Bye bye.